Hello folks, Scott with Dallas Paint Correction and Auto Detailing here in Dallas, Texas. If you read the title of this video, I'm about ready to make a bold statement for about 70% of the buying public. Meguiar's Wash Plus may be possibly the best soap for 70% of the buying public. And I know that's going to make most people that watch YouTube about auto detailing, they're being awfully careful about taking care of their cars. They don't want to scratch their paint. They love those forums on the auto detailing websites and they live in that world. But here I go, folks. I live and work and make money in the real world, and I will tell you why Meguiar's probably has made the best soap on the planet for about 70% of the buying public. Are you ready to hear why? Here we go. If you look at my Navigator, I take care of this car. It's not bad. It's got some scratches and swirls on it, but it's not making my butt pucker. It's not the end of the world. But if you drive down the highway and you look at 70 to 80% of the cars that you pass, I will guarantee you that most people do not wash their cars. I will guarantee you they are scratched to living hell. I will guarantee you that most don't even put waxes on their cars. If they're putting a wax on their car, they're going through their car wash service and they pay an extra $1 or $2 for the car wash tunnel to spray wax on their car. That's about 70% of the buying public. And 70% of the buying public, when I walk up to their home for the first time, even customers that use me on a monthly basis, and I'm taking care of their cars. Some of their cars cost more than my home. I have to be brutally honest. I work in the real world. Those cars are scratched to living hell in the direct sunlight. I have talked to some of my customers and said, hey, do you want me to take care of that? You know what they say to me, a lot of them? Nah, Scott, I don't really value that. I just want the car clean. I want you to detail the inside of the car because I've never seen anybody do that like you do on the planet. A little plug for me. But here you go. I want to talk about why this abrasive soap is the best soap on the planet or on the market at this time for most of the buying public. If you're a professional detailer, I'll also show you where this stuff is going to make your world. If we have a car that's like 70% of the buying public, it is scratched all over the place. What this stuff does, it is not I guess maybe the formula is pH neutral. It's probably awfully safe. In fact, I know it's safe for the clear coat, but it's got abrasives in it. It's got little tiny polish abrasives within the soap, and I know most people who are really worried about scratching their paint, this stuff's not for you. You're not part of the buying public, and that's beautiful. You care way too much about your cars. That's great. But here's the deal. If I have to wash somebody's cars the first time I'm coming up to them, or even some of my customers' cars that may only use me every 3 months, every 6 months, once a year, whatever, if I walk up to their car and I say to them, listen, we got to wash it, we got to clay it, it really needs some type of paint correction, they'll go, you know what, I don't want paint correction. I've even had customers say to me, you know what, I don't even know what a clay bar is. That's pretty cool. You run something over it, it pulls off contaminants. Can you just wash it for me? Guess what? Yeah, absolutely I can do that, Mrs. Jones. That's fine. This is when I'm going to use this soap for those particular people. All I have to do, I don't need buckets, I don't need power washers, I don't need grit guards, I don't need any of that stuff. I just need this, a hose, and a mitt. The way this works is I'm going to spray the panel down lightly with water. I'm just going to release any dirt that might be on the surface. I'm going to take a microfiber mitt and I'm going to put it inside my hand like this. I'm going to shake up this abrasive car soap. That sounds crazy, doesn't it? I want to make sure all those tiny little abrasive polishes are distributed evenly throughout the soap. I want to take this stuff and I just want to put a little ribbon over the mitt, something like that. You don't need a lot. It's highly concentrated. And then what I'm going to do, because the surface is wet, I'm going to wash the car, but I'm actually going to scrub the paint. Holy crap, that sounds outrageous, right? It'll look like this. I'm going to go in here, scrub this paint. I want those polishes within the paint for about 70% of the buying public who do not want a clay bar service, who have scratches on their paint already. How brilliant is it to use a soap? If you're going to wash the car, why not use an abrasive soap that's got polishes in it that will remove some of those scuff marks, fine scratches, because that person already told you. You already see it in the moment. They don't care. They don't live in that world. They don't live in forums, on detailing websites. They want a car that's clean. So I'm not even going to overthink the moment. I'm going to use a soap for them that's going to give them the best bang for their buck under that circumstance. And now I'm going to rinse off this car. What I love about this stuff, it rinses freely. It rinses freely. It truly cleans the paint, and it polishes the paint for about 70% of the buying public that has scratches on their car. If I'm going to wash it anyway, let's remove some of those scratches if we can and scuff marks during the washing process. They already told me they don't care. I watch professional detailers that will walk up to a customer's car. The car is completely scratched to living hell. They will foam it. They will rinse it. They will get 2 buckets out. They'll use a pH balanced soap. They'll use grit guards. They'll use a lamb's wool mitt because they're afraid of putting scratches on the paint. Well, guess what? Meguiar's has just made your life easier. While you're washing the car, you're actually going to use an abrasive soap to remove some of the scratches on the paint. We have to remember something as professional detailers. I certainly understand how it works. To get flawless paint, you got to scratch it. That's what compounds and polishes do. How brilliant of Meguiar's to think outside the box. More companies are probably going to go this way because they just know how the buying public takes care of their vehicles. How does this make sense from a professional detailer's point of view? Well, what if I am going to do some type of paint correction? What if I got some wax or sealant on the vehicle that I want to get off? This will strip waxes and sealants. This will also polish the paint a little bit with those little micro polish abrasives within the soap. Guess what that does for me? My next step after washing the car, if I'm going to do paint correction, I'm going to have to clay bar it, right? This stuff has removed some bonded contaminants, some industrial fallouts, not all of them. I'm still going to have to use my clay bar, but my clay bar is going to travel much easier through this surface now because I used an abrasive soap with polish in it to get some of those bonded contaminants out. I'm not going to have to worry about bird poop, tar, bugs, guts. This stuff has gotten some of that, if not all of it, out of the way. It's going to make my clay bar service quicker and faster for me. Folks, for about 70% of the buying public, you don't need buckets. Most of their cars are scratched to living hell. They might as well use an abrasive soap that will remove some of those scuff marks and scratch marks from the car washing process they went through. They don't need buckets. You don't need buckets. You don't need grit guards. You don't need any of that stuff. Yes, this is not a soap for somebody who's got flawless paint, worried about the wax on the car. That's a totally different deal. Guess what? pH neutral soaps are great for you. But 70% of the buying public, when I want a soap to actually start my process, my detailing process for a new customer, the last thing I want is a pH neutral soap. It just does not work. I am so proud of Meguiar's for thinking outside the box. You want to know my only complaint with this? This is going to surprise some of you. It's not abrasive enough. I wish it had more abrasives in it. That would make this soap a grand slam. Right now it's a home run. It makes my life easier when I want to do paint correction. It strips waxes and sealants, makes the clay barring service easier for me. If I have a customer who doesn't appreciate clay bars, doesn't want to pay for that, doesn't want to pay for paint correction, but wants me to wash their car, you better believe I'm going to use some type of polishing soap, abrasive soap, to remove some of those scuff marks off the car, maybe remove some fine scratches from the paint. I've already got to wash their car anyway. Why not give them the best bang for their buck? I don't have to fill up buckets. I don't have to whip out a power washer. I don't have to overthink the moment because that's the scenario the customer gave me, and I'm going to give them the best service under that scenario. Again, folks, I believe for 70% of the buying public, just drive down the highway, ask yourself when you pass cars, they're dirty, they're scratched, they hardly ever have any wax on them. Most people are not driving around in shiny, glossy, painted cars. They just aren't. This is the best soap on the market for about 70% of the buying public. I applaud Meguiar's for it, and it's a soap I'm keeping in my arsenal because it makes my life so much easier, gives my customers the best bang for the buck. Either way they go. They don't want paint correction or a clay bar? Great, this will work for you. They want paint correction and I got a clay bar? This is great for me again. Once I get the car all dialed in, it's somewhat flawless. I've done paint correction on it. I'm not an idiot. A pH neutral soap is going to be perfect for that. But this soap right here, in my opinion, is possibly the best soap on the market right now for the buying public. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. Hopefully that's helped you out, my perspective on it. Try this stuff out. It'll blow your mind. Highly concentrated. It says it will do about 20 cars. This is my second bottle. I get a little bit more cars out of it than that. You can also use it if you want to use a bucket system. You can put 1 ounce per 3 gallons of water. That's pretty nice concentrate. $8, I think, or $9 for this bottle. I think I bought it at O'Reilly's or AutoZone. It's just a winner for me. A hose in my hand, a wash mitt, and this, and I can get so much done. Get superior looking shining gloss for cars that are already scratched to living hell. It just makes all the sense in the world to me, and it's just a quick and easy process. Meguiar's, thank you. Thank you for thinking outside the box. Thank you for putting your head in the slammer or on the guillotine where other people are going to be going, what, an abrasive soap? No, it's absolutely brilliant. And I can't wait for other soap companies to start doing it because it is absolutely needed. Appreciate it, guys. Until next time, love one another.